بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين صلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله نبينا وإمامنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. We reached chapter number 136 of Riyadh as-Saliheen, or the book of Salam, Kitab as-Salam, the book of the virtue of the salutations of Islam, the rulings, the etiquette and the manners, the do's and the don'ts of giving and returning, spreading the salams. Chapter 136, Nawawi, may Allah have mercy upon him, he says, باب السلام على الصبيان. عن أنس رضي الله عنه أنه مر على صبيان فسلم عليهم وقال كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يفعله متفق عليه. Chapter 136 says, as-Salamu ala الصبيان, salutations to children, to babies, to toddlers, to infants, i.e. مشروعية السلام على الصبيان وأن الإنسان لا يتكبر ولا يترفع ولا يعتذر عن السلام على الصبيان بأنهم صبيان أو لكونهم صبيان لا يعقلون يعني لم يبلغوا بعد. This means the legality, the legitimacy of giving salams to children, and the recommendation of giving salams to children, the permissibility of giving salams to children, and you shouldn't avoid giving salams to children just because they're children, because they're too young to understand, or they're too young to say wa alaikum wassalam. They aren't in puberty yet, or they're kids, and I'm an adult. I'm a sheikh, I'm an imam, I'm a businessman. They're little tiny kids. So this is the attitude that a Muslim should not have. If you see children, you should give them the salams. Anas radiallahu anhu narrates, أنه مر على صبيان, that one day Anas passed by some little kids, some children. فسلم عليهم, and Anas radiallahu anhu, he said, Assalamu alaikum. He gave the children the salams. And then he explained, وقال, he said, كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يفعله. It is exactly what the Messenger of Allah used to do, i.e. my teacher, i.e. my friend, of course my prophet and my messenger, and of course my master. Anas was a servant of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He served him for a decade, and the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, seeing his good character, seeing his great behavior, and how talented of a young man he was, he made dua for Anas. Allahumma kathir malahu wa waladahu. He asked Allah to increase him in wealth and in children. And Anas radiallahu anhu, not only was he one of the 7 most prolific narrators of hadith, وَالْمُكْثِرُونَ فِي رِوَايَةِ الْأَثَرِ, okay, he was of the 7 companions who narrated over 1,000 hadiths. Anas was from the last companions to die. He wasn't the very last, but he was from the last. And some scholars say he was the last one to die in the city of Basra. So Anas radiallahu anhu, he was a young man. He enjoyed serving the Prophet ﷺ, learning from him, and he lived for a very long time after the Messenger of Allah ﷺ, in which he had the ability to take on many students and to offer guidance and tutelage to the next generation of Muslims, especially during the time of Hajjaj, that bloodthirsty, murderous leader who slew many of the great Salaf. Alright, and he gave them advice based off what he heard from the Messenger of Allah ﷺ. So this hadith, Anas gave the salams to the children. So that's هذا فعل الصحابي. Alright. هل قول الصحابي أو فعل الصحابي حجة؟ هذا له حكم الرفع لأنه أسنده إلى النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام بل هو مرفوع. هو مرفوع. He said that the Messenger of Allah used to do it, that's why I'm doing it. i.e. as if some people كأن بعضهم استنكروا هذا. Why are you giving salams to these young children? You don't have to give salams to these young children. He said the Messenger of Allah used to do it. So we learn from this, A, is that the sunnah is to give salams to children as you give salams to grown people. No one should be discriminated against, as we explained. Not a race, not a culture, not a revert or a convert or a born and raised Muslim. If you see a Muslim, you Muslim, give them the salams. If someone gives you the salams, if there's no real reason for you not to return, you should say wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, as we have previously explained. So somebody may say هذا خاص بالرسول عليه الصلاة والسلام في زمنه هم صحابة هم أحداث صحابة هم صغار بل هذا استمر ثم كما قالت عائشة ثم اعتكفت أزواجه من بعده. فهذا فائدة الآثار المروية عن الصحابة. نحن نعلم ونعرف أن هذا العمل مستمر باق ولن ينسخ. So he said that the Messenger of Allah used to do it. It wasn't specific for the Messenger of Allah. Because many Muslims today, they claim that things are specific to the Messenger of Allah. Many things. You can just close your eyes and just grab something. They say, oh, that was only in the time of Sahaba. Alright? It's bad. The Messenger of Allah he warned against a man's garment dragging beneath his ankles. ما أسفل من الإزار ما أسفل الكعبين من الإزار ففي النار. أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. Alright? Don't have your garment dragged beneath your ankles. And you find Muslims, they'll say that was in the time of the Prophet. Mecca was a dirty city. The kings in Mecca, etc. جاهل يعني للأسف. رحم الله رجلا عرف قدر نفسه. عرف قدر نفسه. If you don't know, you don't speak. So many people, they say this is only for the Prophet's time. Polygamy, perfect example. A woman, and unfortunately many men, and you'll be shocked and surprised. I get it, a woman being against it. I don't want to have to share my husband. I'm jealous, I'm insecure. But why would a man be against something that's supposed to benefit him the most? And that's one way of looking at it. And in reality, a woman benefits the most from polygamy, if you really look at it. Because the man is taking care of that woman full time, but he only benefits from her and enjoys her what? Part-time. You guys know the answer, right? He's only there part-time, but he's paying and taking care of her what? Full-time. So who's getting the lion's share of polygamy? In reality, it's the what? It's the woman. She has to be protected, taken care of, her emotional needs, her physical needs. The man provides all of that. And he may only see her once, twice a week. But the shaitan, he tricks people and he gets people to think and feel that the man just benefits from polygamy. That's it. He has extra sex. And that's the only thing that people can understand from polygamy. And that is from shaitan, without a question. But the moral of the story is, there's some Muslims who say that was هذا خاص بزمن الرسول. It was only for the time of the Prophet. There were orphan women, there were battles, ghazawat. So therefore, that's specific to the time of the Prophet ﷺ. So what do you do when the companion does something and he says the Messenger of Allah used to do it, and obviously after the Prophet's death, what? He still does it. So it proves that it wasn't exclusive to the time of the Messenger of Allah. That is the moral of the story. And there are many examples like this, and it's very dangerous for people who are ignorant to claim that this is specific to the Prophet's time. Somebody comes along and says making 5 prayers in the masjid is specific for the Prophet's time. Making Hajj is specific for the Prophet's time. Fasting Ramadan, paying Zakat is specific for the Prophet's time. Wearing hijab, covering yourself is what? Specific for the Prophet's time. Growing your beard is specific for the Prophet's time. Because he said, Khaliful Yahud, Khaliful Majus, Khaliful Mushrikeen. Be different from the polytheist. Be different from the Jews. And no exaggeration, I seen a sheikh, unfortunately from Egypt. Nothing against Egypt or Egyptians, but this is the reality of the story. He gave a fatwa saying you should not grow your beard in 2024 because the Jews grow their beards. The Hasidics, the Ashkenazis, the Zionists, etc., they grow their beards. So you should shave your beard, be different from them. And this was specific to the time of the Prophet. In Medina, the Jews were shaving, but the Jews are no longer shaving. And this is very unfortunate, okay? And this is from the benefit of reading and studying and keeping your nose in the books. You should speak less and read more, study more. All right. Last but not least, we benefit from this hadith is the excellent character of the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam. وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. From the earliest teachings of Islam was good character, good behavior. No one should be able to say something about your behavior. I don't like you, I don't like the way you look, I don't like your message, but I can't say that you have a nasty attitude. You're professional, you're clean, you're on time, you're polite, you're courteous, you're generous, you're brave. Your character should speak before your tongue speaks. The mushrikun, they say that the Messenger of Allah was mad, he was crazy, he made up things up, but they couldn't defame his character. They knew that he was a good man, he was a solid person. And that is why Allah said, وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. Indeed, O Muhammad, you're upon an exalted standard of character. كلا والله لا يخزيك الله أبدا إنك إيش تصل الرحم وتعمل. Khadija, she said, Allah won't disgrace you because you have good character. You're kind to the weak, to the poor, to the needy. تكسب المعدوم. Those who have nothing, you give them something. You honor your guest. إنما بعثت لأتمم مكارم الأخلاق. I've only been sent, the Prophet ﷺ says, to complete good character. That's the only reason why Allah sent me. وَمَا أَرْسَلَ مِن رَسُولٍ إِلَّا يُطَاعَ بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. So this is why the Messenger of Allah ﷺ was sent, was to be obeyed, and was to teach the people how to behave. مَا مِن شَيْءٍ أَثْقَلَ فِي الْمِيزَانِ مِنْ حُسْنِ الْخُلُقِ أو كما قال. Nothing is heavier on the day of judgment than good character. And from that is giving salams to children for a statesman. The Messenger of Allah was the statesman. He was the head of the state. He was the general. He was the scholar. There was no one above him, but he felt that I can give salams to young children. And as we explained in today's khutbah, the character of Islam. إِذَا أَتَى أَحَدَكُمْ إِذَا جَاءَ أَحَدَكُمْ خَادِمُهُ بِطَعَامِهِ فَإِنْ لَمْ يُجْلِسْهُ مَعَهُ فَإِنْ لَمْ يُقْعِدْهُ مَعَهُ فَلْيُنَاوِلْهُ أَكْلَةً أو أكلتين أو لقمة أو لقمتين فإنه ولي حره وعلاجه. The Prophet ﷺ said, when someone brings you food, serving you food, have them sit down with you. Have them sit down with you. No one should just serve you and just walk away. Bismillah, you're going to eat what I'm eating. And what religion, what way of life, what civilization does the master and the enslaved individual share the same meal? What civilization? Have you heard of that? The one who owns the slave, the servant, the serf, the one who pays the butler, we have the same meal. If I have this delicacy, that's what you're eating. So if you don't sit the person down, then at least give them a few bites. Take some, have some, please. I demand. Because that person, the slave or the servant or the server, whoever is bringing you your food, they had to stand over the stove. They had to smell the aroma of the food, the smoke, the steam, right? You're grilling meat, barbecuing, and wind blows the smoke into your eyes. It burns your eyes, right? So imagine a person, he stands over the fire for your enjoyment. He brings you your food and you say, okay, go, leave. It's going to feel some type of way. Versus, you are in charge, but you sat me down and I ate with you. That's going to create a bond. That's going to create some type of importance to a human being. That's humanity. So this shows us the beautiful character of Islam. And if we as Muslims, if we learn this character, and if we implement it, inshallah, if we embody it, we will make a change in our homes, our households, our masjids, our communities, by the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we ask Allah the mighty and the sublime to allow us to have good character, allow us to have good, solid Islamic behavior, and for allow us to be beacons of light, those who are good examples for Islam and the Muslims, and never ever to misrepresent Islam. Wallahu ta'ala alam.